Thank you for sitting down with me, Ryan. Everybody knows who I am, but I'd love for you to introduce yourself here.
Absolutely. I'm Ryan Leahy. I'm with HomeTown Lenders. I'm the regional president for the state of Texas. And I've been doing this is my 22nd year.
Wow, that's a long time to be mortgage agent.
It is. I'm a lifer.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, you have seen quite a bit of a journey across your time here, so it's impressive.
Well, thank you. It doesn't come without its battle scars, that's for sure.
Yes.
This is the third correction that we've been through in my 22 years of doing this.
Yeah. Well, you've seen consistent trends, looking back at the two before.
The trends is that there are no predictions, but there are some patterns that do happen, and one of those things is that rates come up. But what's really interesting about this trend than the other two that we've been through, or this correction, I should say, the other two that we've been through, is we have incredibly limited supply. There's just not a lot of inventory.
Yeah, right.
And with the increasing population of millennial home buyers, I should say, entering the market, we can't actually build fast enough to catch up. And so that's what's really unique about this real estate cycle than all the ones previous. In 2008, we had a massive influx of inventory with massive foreclosures and all these types of things. And the supply far outstripped the demand, and so we had correction. In 2010 through 2011, we had major layoffs in that point in time, and the inventory didn't get as high, but we had some more inventory. This time, because of COVID and because of the supply chain issues, and the massive influx of the millennial population is finally here in the home buying age, that there is just over 3 million units short of enough housing just here in the United States.
Incredible.
And so when the value of real estate is based off supply and demand, and your supply is here and your demand is up here, and there's really no short-term solution for that to change, in most markets it creates a rising a rising home value market. And we're in a really unique opportunity because with the recession fears, there's really a great time to buy and find several motivated sellers in lots of markets across the country right now.
Yeah. And you brought up was just interest rates, and I know that's a lot of questions that I've had across the board out there because interest rates have been very volatile.
Yeah.
For lack of a better way to put it, over these past couple of weeks, and wanted to get just your brief opinion on why you think rates are as high as they are right now.
Absolutely, great question. One of the things that I also try to work with clients on is instead of focusing on the rate, to focus on the payment. And the reason that is because the rates are what they are. Mm-hmm. Here's one thing that we do know. Clients always wait for a dip in the market. Mm-hmm. Would you agree that we're in a real estate dip right now?
Absolutely. Look at the data.
Right. So when's the time to buy? Don't you want to buy in the dip?
Yeah.
Yeah. So really the strategy on this is that, yes, interest rates have been higher. They have absolutely been higher over the last 2 to 3 weeks because of the debt ceiling issue. Recently, the deal that was reached with that, now it's got to go through the House and Senate. Interest rates are seeing some relief finally over the last 2.5, 3 weeks. And they're expected to park really where they were prior to the debt ceiling issue, which was around the mid-6s. Okay. These higher interest rates are causing motivated sellers to come off their price. And that's the dip, that's the magic on buying real estate and actually getting a great deal to increase your wealth. So remember, 20 months ago, when rates were in their 3s, a $500,000 house, Ryan, went for $600,000.
At least.
Right, at least.
Yeah.
So, when people say, hey, I lost 50% of my purchasing power, my question is, did you really? Because the answer is did you have $100,000 to overpay for a home, plus your down payment, plus your closing costs to get a 3% rate?
Exactly.
The answer is most people didn't. And now we finally have an opportunity for a lot of that market that missed out over the last 3 years to get in, create some great wealth by buying a home with a motivated seller. And, Ryan, we're seeing seller concessions significantly happen in most of the offers right now.
Absolutely.
So we're working with our home buyers on reduced price versus seller concessions and what that balance is.
Awesome.
To get the best deal for them.
Yeah.
We're exhausting those avenues for our clients versus doing a reduction in the sales price because we're finding clients are much more motivated to have a payment that they can afford and get into a house that they want versus having $10,000 off the sales price and having a higher payment.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So that's where we're helping clients again have their cake and eat it too, with as low of a monthly mortgage payment as they can get, and still having that seller concession on the value.
Absolutely. Yeah. And from an agent perspective, it is attractive to have basically an offer in your pocket for these sellers that says, hey, we're not trying to negotiate your home price down. Instead, we're willing to pay what you want us to pay for it, but we would like money off of it, and that ends up saving my clients more money in the long run than just knocking a few $1,000s off the sales price at the end of the day.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. So I did a 2-1 buy down side by side for a permanent buy down versus a 2-1 buy down. It equals a $91,000 discount in price for mortgage payment to mortgage payment in the first year. it's a $46,000 reduction in price year 2. So it's like getting, for the first year, it's like buying that home $91,000 less expensive.
Incredible.
So yeah, it really is. To a home buyer, it's a great way to get into the market. In that circumstance, a $91,000 discount.
Yeah.
When you can find a seller that is motivated and interested in you as a buyer, we are finding out that there's a sweet spot on how to apply the dollars that you're able to negotiate in a discount.
Mm-hmm.
And the having your cake and eat it too strategy really is helping them get the lowest interest rate. One of the strategies that we have been deploying is really a temporary buy down, or a lot of times it's known as a 3-2-1 buy down or a 2-1 buy down. We even have a 1-1 buy down, by the way.
Wow.
And depending on how much the seller is willing to contribute, we can factor that in. But for example, we are able to quote with those buy down, focusing the seller contributions and applying that towards the loan. We're able to get interest rates down into the 4s most of the time for the first year.
Okay.
And the age-old financial adage is that you never pay points in a falling interest rate environment. So one of the number one things is that we'll see all other loan officers do, and this goes back to the advice versus price. You can hop on bankrate.com and shop all the lenders out there. But if you're just walking in saying, I want a 30-year fixed and I want the lowest rate, they're going to quote you a 0.1, 2 rate.
Mm-hmm.
That may not be the best thing for you. And so working with somebody that's going to give you the advice as well as a very competitive rate is really what's going to set buyers ahead. And we're looking at strategies like a 2-1 buy down or a 3-2-1 buy down. If we have a seller that's willing to give enough seller concessions, we can do a 3-2-1 buy down. Matter of fact, I just closed a client 2 weeks ago, and his interest rate was 3.49% for the first year.
Amazing.
And we found a seller that was motivated. We helped him work out the terms. His payment was $1,472 a month less than the other lender was quoting him, with a buy down of a point.
Wow.
So it's significant on how these seller concessions can be used to help buyers have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Not only did they get in the home, they had a seller concession. They got their payment almost $1,475 a month less expensive in the first year than the other competitor was. And then the second year was $800 a month less expensive.
Amazing.
When we go back to the age-old adage that you never pay points in a falling interest rate environment, what that means is that we want to tee you up, clients to be teed up to refinance when rates do come down. This is one of the rare times in your life, if you're ever hoping for a recession and you're a home buyer, you kind of want to hope for a recession, because a recession actually means that interest rates are going to come down.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens in a falling interest rate environment? Home prices do what?
They go up.
They go up.
Mm-hmm.
So most people don't understand that. They say, oh my goodness, I'm going to be really smart and I'm going to try to day trade housing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to day trade these interest rates. Meaning they're trying to time the market. You time the market not based on interest rates. You time the market based on motivated sellers. And so that's really going to have people have their cake and eat it too.
So you mentioned 2-for-1 buy downs. I know what that is. I know that you know what that is, but some people may not know what that is. And so I was wondering if you could explain that in real simple terms for us. What is a 2-for-1 buy down?
So absolutely. A 2-1 buy down is that you get in the first year, you get 2% reduction to the base interest rate for year 1. So if the base interest rate is 6.5%, minus 2 is going to be 4.5%.
Got it.
For the first year.
Okay.
Going into the second year, that's the 1 part. So you take the base rate of 6.5 minus 1 equals 5.5%.
Okay.
And what's really great about the 2-1 buy down is you recoup, or you get back dollar for dollar that the seller gave up. Meaning that if you were able to negotiate, Ryan, $10,000 concession from the seller, and we apply that into a 2-1 buy down, you're going to get every dollar of that $10,000 back inside 2 years. And that opportunity doesn't exist in a permanent buy down.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as on a 5th grade level, I think the best way to put it is that your payment is going to be significantly reduced year 1. Then we'll look at a refinance opportunity. Any dollars that are left over in the account of the escrow buy down account, that actually gets applied to a principal reduction, which ends up absorbing the refinance costs.
Okay.
In the event that interest rates haven't gone down in year 1, you go into year 2, rate went up 1 percentage point, and you have a reduced payment for year 2. And looking at a refinance all along throughout that way, in the event, in worst case scenario, rates never got better, you picked up that $10,000 in reduced payments every single month for those 2 years, and then you have a rate at 6.5. Which is not a bad rate, by the way,
Yeah.
if rates never improved.
Exactly.
So the only reason you wouldn't refinance is because rates didn't improve. At any rate, the cost of waiting is this. Right now, across this country, There's several different professional environments, Redfin, Zillow, National Association of Realtors, that believe home prices are going to go up around 5% from this year to next year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to buy a home today, a $500,000 home today, you can get a 5% discount on, which means that you could buy a $500,000 house for maybe $475,000. And next year, that same $500,000 house goes up by 5%. Maybe that's $525,000. Because next year, what's going to happen? Interest rates come down.
Prices go up.
And prices go up on top of. So they're going to recoup the 5% that they gave. So you're looking at a prior purchase price from $475,000 to $525,000. That's $50,000 in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you have to add on the fact of what money you threw away on rent. So if your rent is $2,500 a month, then that's $30,000 in 1 year in rent. If you lost $50,000 in equity, my question to the buyers is would you rather pay $525,000 next year, or would you rather pay $475,000 this year?
That's the question.
But $50,000 difference plus the $30,000 they paid in rent is going to equal $80,000. So there's really a true cost to waiting. You know, the average net worth of a homeowner is $248,000 in this country.
Mm-hmm.
The average net worth of a renter is below $6,000. That's massive. The average homeowner right now has $180,000 of equity. That's after the adjustment in prices that have happened nationally. You have $180,000. So that's significant. I challenge my clients to look at it this way. If you were going to buy a lottery ticket, and that lottery ticket was a guaranteed winner, and it was going to pay out $1 million over 20 years, but every day you waited to buy that guaranteed $1 million lottery ticket, it went up exponentially. So in this case, it goes up $50,000 in price if you wait 1 year. How long would you wait to buy that winning lottery ticket?
Wouldn't wait until yesterday.
Yeah, right. Because the reality is, and I can give my personal experience as well as all the clients that I've helped over the last 20 years, when you buy and move up, you're going to, every 2 years, you get to take the profit off the table when you sell that house and keep it tax-free. And you can apply that, if you choose, as down payment into the next home. My personal story is I've moved 4 primary residences over 21 years, and it netted me $1.1 million worth of equity. I started out in a very small fixer-upper that was 1,170 square feet. I downsized. I had a great apartment in a beautiful area with granite countertops and wood floors. And I downsized all the way into something that was a complete fixer-upper, where matter of fact, we ripped up the floors and then we had concrete floors for 3 years because we couldn't afford to put the wood floors in that we wanted. But 10 years later, I sold that house and made $220,000 on it. And so then I parlayed that into another purchase, and I made another $260 on that house. Then I made another $600 on the third one. And so it really, people need to understand that this is about getting started in the game and understanding the strategy on how to play the game. It's kind of like Monopoly. And so when you look at it from that lens, things really can fall in line for a lot of people. One of the most valuable pieces is having your lender and your agent work as a team.
100%.
And if you're just finding somebody online, that doesn't happen because you're not getting the strategy, you're not getting the advice. Then you're also not getting the availability.
Yeah. I have had clients that need to connect with their lender on Saturday evening, and you don't get that when you're working with just anybody off the internet.
Right. No, you don't, because they're a transaction shop and they're not going to be able to provide that additional value.
Exactly. Which is just so funny to me too, because a lot of real estate offers and contracts get accepted and executed on weekends. You think that the lenders would also be available during that time too. So, yeah.
You know, I think it's interesting. You kind of hit the nail on the head. It's a package deal. How many times, Ryan, have you seen sellers actually walk from a deal or not accept a deal because of an internet lender being the lender?
Quite a few times.
It happens all the time. And again, that's one thing that buyers don't understand. Like if in, let's say it's one of these houses, it's a multiple offer situation right now. You can offer the exact same price as somebody else. And if you're using a big bank or an internet lender, you're going to get chosen over, somebody else is going to get chosen over you if they're using a local lender.
Absolutely.
And the local lenders are known for having the right appraisers. They're known for being available. They're known for not missing closings. And so I think it's a huge value add that a lot of the home buyers are missing coming into the market right now. They're so focused on interest rate that, guess what? If you don't get your offer accepted, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Interest rate doesn't matter. Payment doesn't matter. None of it matters if you didn't get your offer accepted. So when you have to put your best foot forward first and standing out the best way to do that is with a local lender and a great agent. I believe that a large portion of people are not educated on how to take advantage of today's opportunities, and they're stuck in the over-sensationalized media, which are not the facts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I look forward to continuing this conversation,
Yeah.
and thanks for putting this together.
Of course, Ryan, thank you.
Absolutely.